In Southeastern Asia, there is a beautiful tropical country called the Philippines. It is known for its natural beauty, with many beautiful beaches, its culture, and most importantly, the hospitality and friendliness of the locals. Many foreigners dream to live there, including my boyfriend Boria, who is from Krasnodar Russia, where he was born and raised. One day, I met him on the internet and corresponded about my country, our interests and dreams, became friends, and eventually became a couple. We wanted to meet in real life, but the pandemic made it very difficult for us. We waited for almost 2 years, but the borders of the Philippines were still closed to tourists, and Filipinos could not get a Russian visa. Recently on the internet, my boyfriend met a man who told us about Armenia. He met his Filipino fiancée there and got married. My Boria and I also decided to go to Armenia to get to know each other better and to get married. My name is Darlene. I was born and raised on the island of Luzon in the beautiful province of Pangasinan. In a simple large family, I spent my childhood on a farm and helped plant rice and pick mangoes. I am the eldest among my siblings, and I had been living and working in Malaysia for the last few years to help my family. In order for me to be able to obtain an electronic Armenian visa, we paid for plane tickets to enter and leave Armenia, rented an apartment, and buy an insurance. And the next day, after sending my documents for visa application via internet, I received my visa. Before the flight, I did a PCR test and hit the road. It was the first time that I've flown this long and far. It took me 21 hours to get to Armenia, as there was a transfer to other plane in Kuala Lumpur and then again in Dubai. The journey was exhausting and frightening for me, but I decided to overcome this fear for the sake of love. Boria also arrived at the Krasnodar airport and waiting to board the plane. He took a drone with him to make a video about Armenia more picturesque, and a small backpack with his things. There is a visa-free regime between Russia and Armenia, so tourists can enter both with a Russian passport and a foreign one. All he needs is a PCR test no longer than 72 hours, and he did it in advance in the Krasnodar clinic. Kuban sees him off with cold autumn rain, but even this does not spoil his mood. He will fly from Krasnodar to Yerevan for about an hour and a half. We've never been to Armenia, and we do not know what difficulties we will have to face there. But now, we are not thinking about that. With every minute, the huge distance between us is shrinking, and soon we will be together. How will our meeting go? Will we like each other in real life or not? What will our communications be like? For a long time, we corresponded and he uses Google Translator, and his English is still very weak. I hope we can somehow understand each other. And so his plane landed at Zvartnots International Airport. Soon, we will take our first steps in the Armenian land.
Я прилетел, значит, в Ереван, поменяю деньги, купил сим-карту местную МТС. Здесь работает также Яндекс Такси. И сейчас вспомню адрес, куда мне нужно, и закажу. Я добрался до квартиры и теперь переночую и утром поеду встречать Дарлин. Сейчас немного могу показать вам, какую квартиру арендовали.
We found and rented this apartment on the Airbnb website. The choice of apartments there is more than on booking, because Airbnb is specialized on renting apartments from owners.
Я еще до сих пор не осознаю, что происходит. Все это как-то кажется нереально, как будто не со мной. Я тоже как будто фильм смотрю какой-то. Завтра прилетит моя Дарлин. Я первый раз ее увижу в реальности.
Morning has come, and he can admire the view from our windows. Yerevan is a very hilly city. Altitude differences can reach 400 meters. It is surrounded by the Caucasus Mountains and is located in the northeast of the Ararat Valley. Yerevan is sometimes called the Pink City due to the fact that most of the houses and architectural sites are built of pink and beige volcanic tuff. Yerevan is considered one of the oldest cities in the world. The first settlement of Irubuni was founded 2,804 years ago. Thus, Yerevan is 29 years older than Rome. It stood at the crossroad of the caravan routes and was a major center of trade. However, few traces remain of that antiquity. The city many times passed from hand to hand of different conquerors, and each time with serious destruction. It was alternately owned by the Arabs, the Seljuk Turks, and the Central Asian conqueror Tamerlane. As part of the Russian Empire, Yerevan was a small provincial town and began to develop rapidly and be built only in the Soviet period. Later, we will walk around the city and discover beautiful places of interest. Yesterday at the airport, Boria exchanged Russian rubles for the national currency of Armenia, Armenian drams. The word dram comes from the Greek drachma and is translated as money. The banknotes featured portraits of famous Armenian figures of science and culture, beautiful architectures and landscapes. It is time to go back to the airport to meet me. And here we are approaching the Zvartnots Airport, an architectural monument of Soviet modernism. It was built in the 1980s. After 35 years, it became obsolete and was modernized. A new terminal was built and the old one was closed. But thanks to the public, the building was recognized as an object of cultural heritage. Perhaps in the future, it will be restored. And finally, the plane from Dubai landed. Boria waited for a few more minutes, which she told me that it felt like hours. The moment that we have been waiting for is coming soon. I was excited and happy at the same time. Then I saw him near the arrival door for the first time. He's real. He's in front of me. I hugged him and he hugged me back. It was November 24th, and I feel very uncomfortable in my southern clothes because of the cold. When we left the airport, he put his jacket on me and we got into a taxi. On the way, we held hands, and I still could not believe that he was next to me.
Через 300 метров на светофоре поверните направо.
We arrived at the apartment where we will live for the next few weeks. I'm still very shy. Boris told me that I'm shorter than he thought, but I look very cute and I'm perfect the way I am. We were hungry and he bought ready-made food in the store. Sprats, cheese sausage pies, olives, and Armenian wine. This food for me was a little strange. I had never eaten it before. In the Philippines and in many Asian countries, the staple food is rice.
Такая маленькая. So A little.
So little.
So little. So small. So small. Yes.
The next day, we went looking for a store where we could buy warm clothes for me. I am not used to cold weather as I live all my life in tropical islands. The lowest temperature I had ever felt in the Philippines was 20 degrees. My hands are often very cold here, even if I am inside the house. We found a small underground market and ended up buying only a pair of gloves. Funny, I have a very small hands and only fits in child-sized gloves. We didn't find a jacket here, and people advised us to take the subway and go to the mall. It will be a very interesting experience for me. I have never taken the subway before. There's no subway in the Philippines, probably because earthquakes happen there quite often. The Yerevan Metro consists of 10 stations located on the same line with the length of 12 kilometers.
The next station is Marshall.
The walls and the ceilings of the train are decorated with bright ornaments based on Armenian carpets. And we thought how great the people in Armenia value their history and traditions. We bought warm clothes for me and walked around a bit before heading home. On the way, we look at the works of Armenian stone masters. The traditions of stone carvings has been preserved here for more than 2,000 years. I think, unlike metal and wood, these works can live almost forever. At home, I found my favorite spot near the battery. Now the battery is my new best friend. And the next series, we will walk around the Armenian markets in search of something tasty. Watch my reactions on familiar foods and cook something in the kitchen with our own hands.